History happened everywhere. A random place, a random time, and a topic pulled from the hat. The challenge: find the fascinating, uncover the unexpected, and share the stories. You're listening to...
History happened everywhere.
Hello, you're listening to History Happened Everywhere. I'm Pete Goddard. I'm here in the studio, as ever, with my co-host, and I'm honoured to say friend, Ryan Ware.
That's me.
That is you.
Hello. Peter, may I start with, have you eaten well?
You may start with that, and I may think that's odd.
Yeah, well, it's the South Korean equivalent of how are you?
Oh, I see.
So let's start with
straight into that.
How have you eaten well?
Well, I had some crisps earlier, so...
Good.
Is that the correct... Is there a standard response to this?
I don't think crisps are eating well specifically. I don't think nutritionally they're the best, but, that's fine. Let's revert to our anglicised language.
Yeah, how you going, man?
I'm okay, man. How are you?
Now, I have to address the elephant in the room. It's not really the elephant in the room. It's the T-shirt in the room.
Oh, yes.
I can't help but notice you are sporting, and I use that word very carefully, sporting a rather marvellous Halloween-themed History Happened Everywhere T-shirt.
Yeah. They're available on our website at hhepodcast.com/merch.
I'm pretty sure that Kim Kardashian was recently seen wearing a History Happened Everywhere pumpkin shirt. So if you want to be like the Kardashians, start shopping now.
Here's the thing. Where's your one?
That is a good question, Ron.
Yeah,
Where's mine?
Didn't arrive today, did it?
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'll wear the traditional History Happened Everywhere shirt because I am, at all times, thoroughly corporate branded. Thinking of getting a tattoo. History Happened Everywhere tattoo of my arm.
Amazing.
Should we do that? Should we get logo tattoos?
Yeah, no, I think we should definitely do that. We should add tattoos to the Dersolator, and then when it arrives as the topic, that's when we get the tattoo done.
On the condition that it's on the neck.
And in the language of whatever the country is.
Absolutely.
That the Dersolator gives us.
And that with a Tagalog History Happened Everywhere tattoo. Every time you go anywhere, the Filipinos and Indonesians are like, what? But enough of this chit-chat and shenanigans. I want to know what we're talking about today. Shall we have a little review?
Oh, we should, absolutely, definitely.
Let's go back and have a look.
Okay.
Or listen, really.
Should we press the button?
Let's do it. All right.
Apparently, we've got to use the spookulator this week because
it's Halloween.
It's Halloween.
Woo.
Our Halloween special.
Ooh.
So we hit the button and we'll still get time, place, and topic, but it's going to be a spooky one.
Your place is hell.
Okay, all right. Well, here we go.
Let's do it. Release the human souls into the reservoir.
All right, I'm doing it now. No, I don't like that at all.
Oh, dear. All right.
Sorry, guys.
Pull the lever.
All right, off it goes.
And your country is?
Yeah.
It's South Korea.
Oh, nice. Okay, South Korea.
Spooky place. Okay.
Yeah.
And your time is? 2020
Yeah.
to 2025. A bit of future action there for you.
Okay. Thanks, spookulator. That's spooky.
That is spooky.
Time travel, I guess, is spooky.
Okay. And finally, your spooky topic.
Spooky topic is
Jack-o'-lantern.
Nice.
Jack-o'-lantern.
Okay, so jack-o'-lanterns in South Korea
That's a difficult mix, I'll be honest.
from 2020
to 2025.
Wow. Okay. I'll get out my glass ball and peer into the future and find the history of South Korean jack-o'-lanterns.
This feels like a tricky one, but I have every faith in you, sir.
Spooky, spooky, spooky.
Woo! All right. Right, well, here we go. I'm ready to be entertained, Ryan. I'm excited, I must admit.
Right, you're going to be spookily entertained.
I'm scared.
As you should be, because it's Halloween special. We are talking K-pop, Samsung, Squid Games, Train to Busan, Hyundai, Taekwondo, kimchi. This is the land of the morning calm.
The land of the morning calm. I haven't heard that before. That's great.
Yeah. Welcome to South Korea.
Thank you very much.
More officially, the Republic of Korea. It is a country in Eastern Asia, constituting the southern part of the Korean peninsula, about 45% of the land area, in fact. The south shares a border with the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, aka North Korea. The country border is known as the DMZ, the Demilitarized Zone, which was established in 1953. It's 150 miles long and 2.5 miles wide. It's one of the most dangerous borders on the planet. It is heavily patrolled. It has landmines in it, and if you try and cross it from either side, you're going to get shot. It's a pretty spooky area.
Is traffic largely in one direction? Or are they
pretty much in one direction from what I can read, yeah. You've got China to the left of South Korea. You've got Japan to the right. It's surrounded by ocean on the east, the west and the south coasts. So you've got the Yellow Sea in the west, the East Sea to the east, where you're going to find Japan. You've got the East China Sea to the south, and then you've got in the southeast the Korea Strait. At around about 100,000 square kilometres, that's 39,000 square miles, it is roughly 6 times smaller than France.
Oh, I had it in my head that it was quite large. I don't know where I've got that from.
I thought it was at least equivalent.
I thought it was like a half of France, but clearly I'm just deriving this.
6 times smaller, in fact.
It's punching quite high, quite heavy then for a small place.
It really is, yeah. It is largely mountainous. There are small valleys, narrow coastal plains as you get closer to the sea. Weather-wise, it has hot, humid summers, relatively cold but dry winters. The language, might surprise you to learn, is Korean, but it has sort of links to Japanese and Chinese in the Korean language itself. But English has crept in too. The capital city is Seoul. It has a national anthem.
I'm expecting something strident and martial.
Oh, it's totally that. Here we go.
Oh yeah, now this is one I can get behind.
Oppan Gangnam Style.
I know the words.
It's different, isn't it, to a lot of the other national anthems?
A lot of them tend to go for more of a marching band sound, less EDM.
Wait. Oh, no, that wasn't the national anthem.
Was it not?
No.
It was immediately recognisable as the national sound.
Yes, that was Psy with Gangnam Style, which needs no introduction because everyone knows that song. Right, this actually is the South Korean national anthem. Bit of the old Star Spangled Banner's kicked in there.
Oppan Gangnam Style.
So this national anthem is called Aiguka, and it means patriotic song, which makes sense.
Very literal, isn't it?
Yeah.
What should we call it? I don't know, patriotic song. I feel like they didn't spend a lot of time on that in the marketing department.
No, they did not. It is described as the song to wake up the mind to love the country.
It feels like a patchwork of various different songs. I heard a bit of Bread of Heaven there. I heard a bit of our national anthem, bits of American national anthem.
What do you think? You like it?
I'm going to give it a B. I think it's decent. It's decent. It's solid, but it hasn't roused me. But I enjoy it.
And rousing you is the most important.
If I'm not roused, then I'm not going to get behind your nation in a war situation.
Okay, Korea facts.
All right. There must be many of these, Chris. When you just that original list you listed, you think, wow, there's just so much big stuff that's come out.
Korea has one of the most pronounced tidal variations in the world. Up to 30 feet,
Wow.
9 meters tide.
The moon's pulling at the sea, right? That's kind of how tides work. I would have thought that would have meant most places had the same tidal variation.
You'd think so. I think this is a question for Paul Dursley and not for me.
Probably is. Let's carry that over to the verdict next week.
South Koreans say kimchi instead of cheese when they have their photo taken.
Kimchi.
Kimchi.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I like that. That's better than cheese, actually.
Yeah.
Cheese.
From 1999 until December 2020, South Koreans had been legally obligated to use Microsoft Internet Explorer.
That's how
couldn't
they
use
do it.
anywhere else.
I mean, you can feel Bill Gates in the background going, how do I get people to use this
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
web browser?
Internet Explorer 11 is going to be retired fully on June 15th, 2022, and I expect celebrations across South Korea. So once you've finished with your food delivery, you just leave your dishes, your empty dishes outside, and they'll come back and the delivery person will pick it up.
Oh, that's great.
And collect it.
That's like the old milk delivery and you leave
Yeah.
the milk bottles out.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. Korea has the highest density of robots in the world.
Wow. Does that mean their robots are particularly dense or they have just loads of
Just
robots?
super
Has everyone
thick.
got a robot?
Everyone's got many robots, it sounds like. They're used in factories, they're used as prison guards, they're used in hospitals, as waiters in restaurants, they're used as teachers.
So this is where the robot revolution starts?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. Last Korean fact. Peter, are you unmarried?
I am.
Are you an adult?
Allegedly, that's what they tell me.
So in Korea, you would be nicknamed Big Baby.
That's harsh.
Unmarried adults are known as Big Baby.
Well, that's not at all personal and humiliating. Thank you.
You big baby, don't cry about it. History. Would you like to know some South Korean history?
I know a little, but I'd love to know more.
Well, you're about to learn all of their history. Because I was trying to go through it and summarize, and I just couldn't because there's just some really good stuff, and I didn't know much of it. So I'm going to enlighten you in a whirlwind tour of Korean history.
Well-
Bear in mind, there is some stuff that I've had to leave out. So this is the highlights. 700,000 BCE.
I love that you always start really right at the beginning.
Right at the beginning.
Your time period is 2020 to 2025. 700,000 years ago.
Got to start somewhere.
Well, I need to get back to the source of this activity, right?
Got to start right at the beginning. 700,000 years ago, early man is there.
Yay.
Would that have surprised you?
I was not surprised that early man he got about, didn't he?
8,000 BCE.
After a bit.
After a bit, they were settling on farms. 4,000 BCE, Stone Age farmers, they're forming tribes and starting to merge together into larger groups of people. And by 100 to 300 CE, 3 kingdoms emerge. By 668 CE, all 3 of those kingdoms are defeated and Korea is united under the Silla kingdom. So then there's loads of wars, which takes us right up to 1200 CE when the Mongol invasions of Korea start. And that ends in, after about 30 years with a peace treaty. And the Mongols come in and they're like, hey, we're just going to protect you.
Protect you, yeah. I love that.
Yeah. Around 1400, the Joseon dynasty starts. And by 1600, Japanese invade and are defeated. They go away, they come back, they invade again and are defeated and go away again. 1653, you've got the first contact with Europe, a Dutch ship sailing around and gets shipwrecked on the coast. 1866, Korea adopts an isolationist policy, refuses to trade with Westerners. But this isolationist policy, it's a bit of a problem. And by 1876, the Koreans sign a treaty with the Japanese saying that we're going to work together, but hey, we're like totally independent nations and we're going to do our own thing our own way. 1880, Korea is starting to fall behind in terms of technology and industry, and reform is introduced with the slogan, Eastern Ethics, Western Technology. There are trade treaties which are signed with the USA, with Britain, with Germany, with Russia, and with France.
Oh, they picked the big guns, didn't they?
So, only a couple of years after that's been signed with Japan, the Korean rebels kill a Japanese military advisor, and incensed by this, Japan says, we're going to sign a new treaty together, Korea, and that increases the Japanese influence over the country. The Chinese don't really like this, and so they station their troops on Korean territory. Then, in 1894, there is a peasant uprising, and Korea is in trouble. It needs help. So, Japan sends some troops, but then refuses to leave.
That will happen.
Spreading.
Once you've invited a foreign nation's army into your land, it's quite difficult to get rid of, aren't they?
And so Japan and China go to war in Korea, and Japan wins. The Japanese install a regent to rule over Korea, and within 1 year, Korean tradition is basically wiped out. Japan is just trying to reform Korea into a new Japan. And further reforms continue over the years until Japan basically controls Korean foreign policy and its relations with other countries as well.
Oh, wow, I didn't know any of this.
Right, just completely taking over. So by 1907, Korea accepts Japanese control of its internal affairs, and the Korean army is just disbanded. A Japanese official is sent over, and 2 years later, he's assassinated. The Japanese say, you killed one of our guys, so we're just going to claim Korea now as our own. This starts the colonial period in Korea, and it lasts around about 35 years until 1945. You've got bridges, factories, railways, roads are being built by the Japanese, but really only done so that Korea can become like a colony specifically built to supply Japan with food. So it's not for the benefit of Korea, it's for the benefit of Japan.
This has echoes of the railways in India kind of conversation, doesn't it? This was, look at all the development we gave you, but,
But actually,
really.
it was for us. Yeah. In 1919, there are peaceful demonstrations which are greeted by Japanese arrests and executions, and this continues until 1945 when, at the end of World War II, Japan surrenders and Korea is finally free of Japanese rule. At this point, Russia and America, the allies in the Second World War, they agree to split Korea into a north and a south, split it between themselves. It was intended that the two zones would eventually merge, but then the Cold War happens, and Korea, being split in two, is now one half communist and one half democratic. So in 1950, the North Korean army, the communist army, invades the south. They get as far as Seoul and pretty much just march straight in. The Allied troops recapture the city and they push the North back across the border. The Chinese get involved, send a whole bunch of troops, 180,000 troops or something, and the North counterattacks again. And indeed, the Allies are pushed back to the border. And in 1951, the communists are able to recapture Seoul. Again, they're repulsed, and at that point, there's a bit of a stalemate. In 1953, so 2 years later, a ceasefire is signed. 1960, there is a government that is elected in South Korea. It is a corrupt government, so there are riots. This ends in a military coup, and General Park becomes their leader. Unfortunately, he is a rather oppressive dictator, and he is in charge for about 19 years when he is assassinated. At that point, there is another coup, and another general takes over, this time worse, killing his opponents and crushing all the student protests, killing hundreds of Koreans. The 1980s happens. We have economic transformation. The country is now thriving. It's becoming a rich country. In the 1988, you've got the Olympics in Seoul, which brings the country into international limelight. During the 1990s, that economic transformation continues. Money keeps on rolling in. By 2008, you've got the first Korean in space. You've got, in 2013, the first female president. In 2018, the relationship with the North starts to thaw as communication lines are restored. And as of this year, 2021, South Korea omits North Korea as an enemy on its military white papers.
Oh, so they're
no longer classified as an enemy.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Nor did I.
So you didn't pick up on the one thing that I do know about South Korea, or about Korea, the Koreas, which is the implementation of the mobile army surgical hospitals.
Funny enough, I didn't know. Tell me.
So MASH was set in the Korean War, right?
It was, yeah, the old sitcom TV show thing.
And that was set in the Korean War, which was a United Nations war, if I remember rightly. The United Nations sent a force to help with the...
I don't remember MASH very well, so you'll have to remind me.
So MASH is confusing for people because it was set in the Korean War, but it's basically a commentary about the Vietnam War. So I think a lot of people remember it as being a Vietnam set show, but it's not. Actually, it's in the Korean War. And actually, the Korean War wasn't Americans in Korea, it was the United Nations, I believe.
Oh, right. Did it have a movie as well? MASH, the movie. Is that how it started? I forget.
I think it started as a movie and became a sitcom.
And then became the sitcom, yeah. So let's talk about Halloween, right? Because this is our Halloween special. We should probably cover that off. I'm sure a lot of people are going to probably be aware of this, but we'll run through it anyway. It's only a short summary of what Halloween is. But for those of the people that don't know, Halloween has its roots in the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, which marked the beginning of winter. The Celts believed that the night before Samhain, spirits from the other world appeared and destroyed crops with their frosty breath. basically leaving the land barren for winter. Now, to appease these spirits, the Celts would leave food and wine on their doorstep, because who doesn't love free food and wine, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And they would wear masks when they left the house to blend in with the spirits. In the 8th century, the Christians took this pagan tradition and rebranded it as All Saints' Day, or All Hallows. This later became Hallows Eve and later Halloween. Nowadays, it's just an opportunity to dress up in costumes, watch horror films, snack on candy, the sound of children knocking on neighbors' doors and saying the magic words.
Trick or treat.
That's right.
I did it.
You said the magic words, Pete.
I did.
Well, what happens when you get... Am
I going to get a treat? Treat.
Yeah, trick or treat. So I'm going to give you a treat.
Ooh.
Hold the phone.
I'm holding the phone. Ryan is getting up. He's leaving the room. He's going to come back shortly, I hope. Otherwise, it's more of a trick because he's just gone and left me to do a podcast on my own without any research.
Can you imagine if that was...
I just sat in front of a microphone for 2 hours going, so anyway, no sign of him yet.
Right, okay.
What a smorgasbord of goodies you have there, Ryan.
Yeah, well, so these are South Korean candy.
Nice.
Yeah, I went to a Korean supermarket and I picked up a variety.
I'm very excited.
Different
that is a
snacks.
great deal of candy.
None of which I've ever had before, and I'm sure you probably haven't either.
No, my knowledge of South Korean confectionery is just limited.
Yeah, I'm going to mix these around.
All right.
Close your eyes,
Yep.
put your hand in. We're going to sample one, and whatever you have, I will have one too.
Okay.
Dig right in.
I have one of
Get in there.
these things from the... one of these.
Okay, all right.
Ooh.
Okay, so that is called...
See, the writing on it's difficult to decipher because it's in Korean script.
Yeah, all of this is in Korean.
Do you have a handy cheat guide?
Describe what you've got.
So it looks like a hard candy, like a hard sugar candy, I guess. It's individually wrapped.
A boiled sweet, we might say.
Yeah, boiled sweet, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. This is candy flavored like corn, which isn't to say corn candy, which is a popular candy in America. This is corn flavored
And
candy.
somebody
like
thought,
sweet corn.
I need a candy. I'd like it to taste like breakfast cereal.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
I'm ready.
Oh, that's instantly an unusual flavor. Kind of popcorn meets coffee.
Yeah, it has a coffee element to it, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
It's like breakfast in a boiled sweet.
It's savory, isn't it? It doesn't.
It is.
It's got the sweetness.
It feels like it should be doing me some good. Because it's not tasty enough to be a treat. Yeah, well, here we go. I'll keep you posted.
All right, well, look, we have a lot to go through. So anytime you wish to trick or treat me, feel free to jump in with the magic words.
All right.
Okay, so that brings us neatly to Halloween in South Korea. So, the slight majority of South Koreans have no religion. In the past, shamanism, Buddhism, Confucianism, they were the core Korean culture. And while that's sort of changed recently, Korean family life still to this day involves traditional rituals. So things like marking the life cycle milestones, which is another way of saying the important passages in a person's life. So, for example, Koreans will celebrate a baby's first 100 days.
Oh, right.
They will celebrate marriage and the 61st birthday, which
Wow.
apparently is the important one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we tend to celebrate the 50th, don't we?
Yeah.
Side note, a South Korean born on the same day as you is already older by 1 year.
What? How's that? What?
And
I mean, I'm glad of it because I'm the younger of the two, so I'll accept it.
yeah, so if you're born literally at the same time, they are considered 1 year older because babies, when they're born, are considered to be 1 year old. Hence why maybe 61 is the important one. And when the next lunar new year comes, the babies go up by another year. So they can be 2 years old.
This is quite complicated and confusing.
Ancestral rights is another one. So traditional Korean belief is that the spirits of the dead, do not leave the earth for several generations. Thus, deceased parents and grandparents are still considered part of the family.
I'm not having mum watching me from beyond the grave. I'm not happy with that
They
at
don't live
all.
for several generations.
Well, you have a great-great-grandma. Yeah, I'm not worried. Didn't know her, right?
Well, she's still watching.
Yeah. But
According to
enjoy
South
the
Korean
show, Grandma.
rituals. Yeah, so they're still considered part of the family, and ancestral rites are performed to honour them on death anniversaries and on major holidays.
Right.
So these people aren't forgotten. Two of the most important holidays in South Korea are observed according to the lunar calendar. Those are Solal, which is the Lunar New Year, and Chuseok, which is the Harvest Moon Festival, essentially their Korean Thanksgiving.
Nice.
But today, Buddhism and Christianity, they are the dominant formal religions, and the older ways are starting to get challenged. In 1900, Christianity was barely recognized. It was about 1% of the population were Christian. In 1910, Christianity had sort of become a source of resistance to the Japanese, the colonial rule, and so it started to pick up pace. In 1945, when the Japanese left, the church was basically in huge high standing. Americans were seen as the saviors, and their religion, Christianity, was the source of their strength and their wealth. So South Koreans rushed to Christianity even more. And in fact, today, as of 2021, there are more South Korean missionaries than in any other country.
Oh, wow.
Except the United States.
That's remarkable.
Yeah. And the Yoido Full Gospel Church, which is the largest church in the world, you know, like you see sometimes in America, those big arena churches, it's bigger than all of those.
Wow.
It has 830,000 congregants.
Wow.
Nearly a million.
That's a big church.
Yeah, it takes up an entire riverfront block in central Seoul. So perhaps because of that connection with Christianity, or perhaps through their ties with America, Halloween has taken a foothold. And since the early 2000s, Halloween has become increasingly popular. In Seoul, it is now common to see Halloween costumes in supermarkets, decorations on the streets. Small children dress up in costumes and go trick-or-treating. And 20-year-olds go to Halloween-themed parties, bars, clubs.
I only hope that they get those off-brand costumes that you can get that are things like Frederick Krauger.
For what?
The costumes where they don't want to copyright infringe, so they say
I'm trying to work out what Frederick Crowder is.
Freddy Krueger.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think you should have gone with something like more like octopus activities instead of Squid Games.
Octopus activities. I like that.
Yeah. Talking of costumes. Since 2015, sales of party dresses have increased by 139% on Halloween. Costumes for adults have increased by 24%. But the biggest increase is costumes for pet dogs, which has increased by 957%.
I am 100% behind that. I love to see a dog in a costume. It is endlessly entertaining to me.
Spooky dog.
Honestly, a dog with a little side and a hood, I would pay money to see that. Love it.
Anyway, there you go. So obviously, businesses see that increase and they're like, hey, let's make some money. And so they are undertaking a whole bunch of Halloween events and really trying to push it and promote it. But then coronavirus hit. And on Sunday, October 11th, 2020, South Korean authorities recorded 24,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19, which was down from where it was. So it seemed to be easing with around about 432 fatalities on this Sunday. So it was lower. It had gone down. Sufficiently enough that the Prime Minister said that social distancing measures could be eased for Halloween. So bars and clubs reopened. And officials were so scared that Halloween parties would cause a resurgence that they sent officials and police to 153 nightclubs in Seoul to check that the rules were being followed.
Wow.
It's like your parents turning up at the school
Just
dance.
trying to have a good time, and then there they are, putting it down on everything.
Stand back, 6 feet. Yeah. They put up posters in Seoul, which had like this cartoon image of a ghost, and it said, "Don't end up a real ghost while enjoying Halloween." Ooh. Coronavirus.
What do you come as? Coronavirus.
Oh man, can you imagine how many coronavirus costumes?
Must have been a lot of tennis balls stuck to leotards.
Oh, men were sent wearing protective gear to walk the streets, to disinfect the sidewalks. One as a precaution against the virus, but other people believe that it was more just as a show to remind people.
A little bit of hygiene theatre never went astray.
Hygiene theatre, I love that. That's great. 85 bars and clubs just agreed to close. They were like, look, this is too much hassle. We're just going to get in trouble. And so they just closed. And instead, most of them hosted Halloween parties online. But despite all of this, Seoul was just bustling with people, right? It was absolutely crowded in folks in Halloween costumes. And a year later, here in 2021, most people are now vaccinated and COVID less of an impact. And so Halloween celebrations are in full force.
Hurrah! I mean, everyone's wearing masks at least.
Indeed. So let me run you through some of the activities that are happening in South Korea this year. So there is a Halloween pub crawl.
I could sign me up.
There is a Halloween booze cruise.
Also sign me up.
Yeah. There is the Zombie Run Festival.
I'm all right with that.
Let me tell you about it, because you love running.
I do enjoy running.
I thought you'd like this one, you see. It's one of the most massive events in Seoul. Thousands of runners go to Seoul Race Park, and they are divided into two teams. So you have the zombies and you have the humans. The zombies are given costumes and a makeover, and the humans are given 3 flags, which they have to protect, carry on them and protect. They all run for 90 minutes over a distance of 2 miles, either being chased or doing the chasing. And after the run, they all go and party and celebrate.
Okay, so I said I wasn't interested, and I would like to immediately reverse that.
No,
Sounds absolutely amazing, and I really want to play.
Yeah, I thought you'd love that, but I just ripped up the ticket now.
Oh,
You said you didn't want to do it, so sorry, dude. There is Lot World, or Lottie World. It's an indoor theme park, loads of rides, usual sort of things, and people are encouraged to wear a costume, turn up, and have fun. But oh no, a virus has broken out at the park.
Oh no.
And the infection has spread.
Infected.
Zombies are invading the park.
Oh, I love
And do you know what they're bringing?
flags.
Dance parties.
Dance party.
Yeah, and zombie attacks. Those are the 2 things it advertises.
Okay, right. So it's like I have an insatiable hunger for brains and the beat.
K-pop. Then there is Escape, Psycho Circus, which is a special show which originates in Southern California. It's held at Seoul Grand Park, and it features Halloween mazes, themed stages, costume performers. It's centered sort of around a horror theme, but in a circus, and it offers 2 nights of monstrous beats, techno, horror. Yeah. Special effects, freaks, fortune tellers, contortionists, and, in their words, bizarre characters.
I think we could get a job there, mate.
You think so?
Yeah. Just bizarre characters, I think we
Yeah, I
could
think
come
so.
under. Hello, I'm applying to be a bizarre character.
Say the words.
Trick or treat.
Put your hand in the bowl. Dig in. You got to go deep. You got to go deep.
This feels, it's like a stick. Oh, it's,
Okay, you're going to love this.
this is interesting. It's like a tube, a plastic tube.
About how long would you say?
About
3 or 4 inches?
4 inches, maybe 3 inches. It's got a liquid inside it. It feels like, do you know those pops you put in the freezer?
Yeah.
It's like one of those before you put it in the freezer.
Yeah, like it is. These are, you can actually read this one. It says jelly straws.
Jelly straw.
It's a jelly straw. It's got a little open at the top, so you can just rip that. But
Oh, yeah, okay.
I've been advised to just be careful with the initial rippage.
Okay.
So it doesn't pour everywhere. What colour is yours, by the way?
Mine is, it's kind of a cola colour, I would say, sort of a brownish.
I've got pink. So what flavour do you think you'll
It doesn't. Well, I'm hoping it's a cola. Otherwise, it's like going to be a tea or something, which I'm not at home to at all.
Weak coffee. Treat. Okay. Yeah, it does squirt a little bit. Quite hard to get into, isn't it?
I'm in it.
Oh, you're in it? Okay.
Oh, it's jelly. It's very jelly.
Right, and by jelly you mean jello?
Yeah, Jello for our American listeners.
Oh, that's delicious.
That's good, isn't it?
A strawberry. Yeah. Oh, I'm pleased. Oh, that's really nice. I mean, it is just like a tiny mouthful
Tiny
of
jelly, isn't it?
jello, yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
It's got like a worm
It has
feel to it.
doesn't have a certain sensation. I dig it. I'm for it.
Or I'll suck the whole thing out.
Oh, all right, I'm going it all in. Here we go. Spooky and delicious. Yeah, it's definitely a cola.
Is it? Oh, I'm jealous, actually. No, the strawberry was good, but I love a cola. Right. What was the subject for this episode?
Halloween.
No.
Pumpkins. Jack-o'-lanterns.
Jack-o'-lanterns,
sorry.
that's right. Not specifically pumpkins, and you'll find out why. So, a jack-o'-lantern. It's a lantern, which is a device for shining light. It's made from a hollowed-out vegetable, in which holes are cut out to create a ghoulish face. Yeah, it's traditionally made for centuries as like a Halloween decoration, but it originates from an Irish myth about a man, and his name is...
Finn.
No, Jack.
Jack. Oh, Jay, I should have guessed that already, shouldn't I?
Yeah. Stingy Jack. to be
Stingy
precise.
Jack.
That's his
Oh,
name.
man.
Yeah. So
That's not good.
It's an Irish myth about a guy called Stingy Jack. Did you say Finn? Lord. Right, according to the story, let me tell you a story. Spooky music. Woo! I meant I'll put it over. I don't need
okay.
you. So, according to the story, Stingy Jack invites the devil to have a drink with him. As you do,
Yeah, well, the Devil's got all the best tunes, famously.
right? He's probably the most fun.
He's on the jukebox.
Yeah. The other guy would just be like, oh, I've probably had enough. I probably should go home and get some sleep early.
I've got a lot of people to look after in the morning.
Yeah.
Put a harp medley on.
It's always playing that harp.
Oh, it's so tiresome.
Right, so Stingy Jack doesn't want to pay for his drink, though.
This is how you get a name like Stingy Jack, let's be honest.
It's true. Yeah. He convinces the devil to turn himself into a coin.
All right, nice play, Stingy Jack.
But Jack doesn't use it to buy a drink with. He just pockets the coin. Clever, right?
Greedy and stingy.
Stingy.
I love this guy.
So he puts it in his pocket. In his pocket is a silver cross.
Ooh.
Right, and that prevents the devil from escaping. So the devil's stuck as a coin in his pocket. I love these old stories. Eventually, Jack does decide that he's going to free the devil for reasons that remain unknown to time.
That feels like a poor decision. I mean, already, I'm not an expert on Stingy Jack's lifestyle, but I feel like Stingy Jack should not release the devil.
Right, but he does. He releases the devil, but only under two conditions, which means that he was having a sit-down conversation with a coin at one point.
So.
Basically, the conditions were, 1, the devil would not bother Stingy Jack for 1 year.
I think he could have really negotiated harder there, but okay.
And 2, should Jack die, the devil could not claim his soul.
Oh, that seems like a better contingency. That year thing feels irrelevant now.
I feel like they negotiate that down. He was like 10 years, devil was like 1, he was like 5, he went 1, he went 5.
All right, I'll take it. But you can't have me when I'm dead.
Yeah, exactly. The next year, Jack is a little bit concerned.
It's going to be a long year, that one.
Right, he should have asked for more years.
Well, clearly, yes.
So what does he do?
Um,
That's right, he tricks the devil. Because he's done it before, right? It's easy.
Is he still carrying him around in his pocket at this point?
No. Devil's doing devil things.
Okay.
It's fine, because he's no longer a coin.
So he's just gone for dinner then and said, look, listen, we need to talk about this agreement.
Right. So he tricks the devil. And how does he trick the devil this time? What he does is he tricks him by telling him he wants a piece of fruit at the top of a tree.
Ah, brilliant.
So would you go and climb the tree for me and get me that fruit?
I feel the devil's not coming off great in this. If I were the devil, I'd be like, well, no, I'm not going to do any of those things.
But the devil does do it.
Well, I'm warming to the devil. He's a helpful soul, right? He's just trying his best,
Doesn't
really.
come across as particularly devilish, does he? Anyway, the devil does it. He climbs up the tree, but he doesn't know that Jack has carved a cross onto the tree.
Oh, that man.
So he can't get back down.
No way.
He's now stuck up a tree.
Up a tree. Again.
And Jack says,
Stingy Jack.
Devil, I want 10 years. I want 10 years.
10 years? Is that... I'm really I'm struggling to comprehend this guy's thinking, but all right.
So the devil goes, sure, whatever. Just let
That
me
will
down.
be up this tree, right?
But soon, Jack dies.
Ooh.
Right, that was a twist you didn't see coming, wasn't it?
Oh.
Right, so he didn't need those 10 years, it turns out. Anyway, Stingy Jack, now in heaven, he meets God.
Right.
And God says,
You've been kind of a jerk.
You're
What are you
a bit
doing
of a jerk.
here?
You have a bit of a reputation, young man. We don't have people of reputation here, so get out. Hit the road.
Oh, God.
Hit the road, Jack.
Right.
I did that.
I do see what you did there.
So that's not a problem for Jack.
Jack's cool. Jack's got the devil in his pocket. He knows how to outfox this weirdly helpful demonic presence.
Right. So he goes down to hell, because that's the only other place, right? Heaven or hell. So he goes to hell, and he meets the devil, who's like,
Hello,
oh,
mate.
hello. And the devil says, well, Stingy Jack, I would love to let you in here, but you're a bit of a jerk, so I'm not going to let you into hell. Also, you said that I couldn't have your soul, so couldn't let you in, even if you wanted to. Hoist by your own petard.
Indeed.
Right. Anyway, so Jack can't get into hell either. So what the devil does is he gives Jack a burning coal to light his way in the dark that is neither heaven nor hell. And so Jack, just wandering around with a very hot coal in his hand, he decides to put it into a carved turnip because reasons. And he then roams the earth evermore. Yeah. Now, the Irish referred to this ghostly figure, this guy walking around with a carved turnip, as Jack of the Lantern, and then simply
Jack-o'-lantern.
Jack-o'-lantern.
All right.
Yeah. So in the 19th century, Irish and Scottish immigrants, they go to America. They revive the tradition of walking around, I guess, with a hot coal and a turnip. Because what else are you going to do? But because they're in America, they're now using these hollow, softer, much larger pumpkins, which are more easier able to carve. So pumpkins are now associated with jack-o'-lanterns.
Excellent. That's really good. I find Stingy Jack to be a terrible figure.
I mean, it's in his name. I mean, you know, it doesn't belie a person of merit.
I love that he thought he was clever and he ended up just like in limbo, wandering around with a hot coal in a banana or whatever it was.
Not a banana. Right, it's trick or treat time. Right.
I was going to say that spontaneously.
Well,
Right.
good. Hand in, deep. Rummage. I want rummaging. Okay, what have you got? Ooh, interesting.
Oh, this is a...
Oh, you've gone green, I've gone red.
All right. I don't know what this is at all.
Nor do I, actually. I've totally forgotten what this one is. So let's just try it.
Just to give it a go.
It's like in a foil packet.
Yeah.
Mine's red, yours is green.
I can't get it
It
open.
feels like a hard candy, but it might not be.
It looks like a toffee.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Oh, this
it
is
does
like a
look
caramel or something like that.
caramel. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Oh, yeah, it's like a nice little
it's soft.
nugget of
Oh, that's
fudge or
delicious.
something. Like a fudge.
This is more like it.
Oh, that's nice.
We don't want
That's
any-
a sort of fudge meets toffee, isn't it?
Oh, no, wait. No, the middle is different.
Really? Mine isn't.
Mine's nutty in the middle.
No, mine's just a lovely toffee.
Dang it. Oh, no. Mine's got nuts.
Oh, my Lord. Ryan has produced a large, medium-sized cardboard box with pumpkins in it.
Yeah.
I think they're pumpkins anyway. I'm not really a good vegetable spotter. Good gourd.
That's great. Really good. So, do you want to hear more about pumpkins?
I do.
Okay, well, while I'm telling you about pumpkins, you will note that you have a cardboard box which is packed to the rim with pumpkins.
Stuffed with pumpkins.
Yeah, in there is also candles and a black carry case, which if you open it up,
Looks like a murder kit.
kind of, yeah. If you open it up, you'll see.
It says Happy Halloween. Oh my Lord! It's like it looks increasingly like a murder kit with every exposure. It's got sort of saws and a thing that looks really like just a shiv. You would succeed in prison with this kit. Is all I'm
Right.
saying. A sort of serrated angry spoon and a gouging device.
Right, this is a professional Halloween pumpkin carving kit.
Oh my Lord!
So while I'm talking to you, I feel like it would be useful for you to select from this collection of pumpkins in front of you a pumpkin to carve.
Yes.
And by the end of it, at the end of this episode, it'd be nice if we had a little pumpkin to sort of put up on our website. We can.
All right. This is sinister. This.
Yeah, it really is.
Okay, I am going to commence the cut. I'm going to start. This
Well,
one is very big.
the big
I'm
one-
tempted to go for the big one, but I'm also nervous that that's a lot of pumpkin to be carving.
I mean, it does seem to be that the bigger ones are the easier ones to carve. So when you're going through those, let me just give you a little bit of background before you start, perhaps.
Okay.
So, pumpkins. The jack-o'-lantern is a specific variety of pumpkin. That is its name.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Well, there are other varieties
This is
too.
why I tune into this podcast.
And here are some of their names. You've got the jackpot, the jumpin' jack, the happy jack, the funny face, the ghost rider, the spooktacular.
I'm sorry, I've got to cut you off here. Are you making these up? Because
Nope.
these are real.
These are real pumpkin varieties.
So if I went, I need a ghost rider, so I'm going to go,
Yeah, here's some seeds, or here's some stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. Here's some other ones. Spooktacular, Big Autumn, Autumn Gold, Mammoth Gold, Harvest Moon, Big Moon, Bushkin Frosty, Winter Luxury, Sugar Treat, Amish Pie, Baby Bear, Baby Pam, Big Tom, Big Max, Atlantic Giant, Connecticut Field, Long Island Cheese.
I feel like you're
Arca-Chinada.
taking an improv class. You're just making up pumpkin names.
Arca-Chinada, and my favourite, HR 8311.
HR 8311.
Yeah.
The scientists named that one, didn't they? It's like, we've genetically modified this one.
Yeah. So this is the reason why you've got a whole box of pumpkins. These are
I
different
see.
varieties of pumpkins. Unfortunately, I don't know which is which. So I can't tell you which one's a Big Moon from a Bushkin Frosty.
Bushkin Frosty, because I was going to go for the Bushkin Frosty as well.
Right, well.
I think I'm going to go classic. I'm going to try and get the big lad.
Now, the smaller ones, these might actually be classified under the miniature pumpkin varieties, and those names include Jack Be Little, Wee Be Little, and Baby Boo, which is my favourite. Baby Boos are all white. You'll recognise them. They look like a little ghost.
All right, I'm
You're going big.
tempted. I think I'm going big. I think I am.
That's fine.
Because these seem super dense.
I mean, you don't
little
have to
ones.
just do one. If you're quick enough, you can do as many as you want. They all need to be done at some point.
I have some experience of pumpkin carving.
Oh.
And what I learned was I'm not very good at it. I break a lot of tools and I can't be trusted, basically.
Well, this is good practice because you have a lot of pumpkins in front of you.
But this kit is a lot more substantial than the kit I was using, which was like pound shop.
Plastic.
Yeah, basically.
Dollar store stuff, yeah.
Okay, so, honestly,
Just please don't cut yourself.
This is
'Cause that,
so
as spooky as
sinister.
that would be,
I mean, look,
that is a shiv, yeah.
that is...
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let me tell you some more about pumpkins while you're starting to carve your pumpkin. So pumpkin comes from the Latin word pumpion, from the Greek word pepon, which means large melon. Large melon.
Large melon.
That's what pepon means, yeah. Around the world, the pumpkin is known differently. Pumpkin is not internationally recognized. Other countries have names for it. So in Germany, you might ask for a kürbis.
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 Hand me my kürbis.
In Mongolia, you might ask for a hulu. In Scotland, you might ask for a peapag.
A peapag.
Aye, a wee peapag. You've got tikva in Serbia, kalabatsa in Spanish, kuvok, which is in Uzbek, yaktin in Arabic, tikva in Bulgaria, zuka in Italy. You've got the greskar in Norwegian. None of these, by the way, sound remotely similar. So everyone's come up with their own word independently. Phak thong in Thailand, gargaj in Armenian.
Gargaj, I like that one.
Gargaj is good, yeah. Kurbis in Latvia and dovliak in Romanian. So lots of different names for the word pumpkin. Pumpkins are a type of squash. They're a member of the Cucurbita family, if that means anything to you.
Absolutely nothing.
Well, for somebody out there, it does. They grow on a plant, which might surprise you. The plant has large leaves and the sprawling vines, which really do go for a long old distance. They have coiled leaves on them called tendrils, and they also bloom. They have a large yellow-orange flower, which only lasts a day, and they are entirely edible. You can eat the flowers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. The pumpkin itself has a hard outer shell, as you are currently
I can
experiencing.
testify to that.
Yeah. It has a fleshy inside.
I can also testify to that because right now I am wrist deep in pumpkin.
Now, you can eat that fleshy inside, and people do. It is also stuffed with seeds, which you can also eat.
I'm removing the seeds as we speak.
Okay. So, pumpkins, you can eat them. They've got excellent health benefits. They are recognized as an excellent source of magnesium, of zinc, of fiber, and omega-3 fatty acids.
Favorite fatty acid.
They aid weight loss, not if you're eating treats all night, but
Pumpkin pie and Korean sweets.
yeah. Apparently they help with your eyes, so eye health, prostate health. Just staring at
I
me.
wish there was a audio meaningful look.
The seeds are good for heart health. They boost your immune health. The seed extract is used for bladder function, and it apparently helps digestion, improves your mood, and helps with sleep.
This has improved my mood already. I'm having a lovely time.
There you go. So you might want to learn to grow your own pumpkin. It's entirely possible. Pumpkins are grown all over the world. They can be grown in containers, in pots, in backyards, greenhouses, pretty much wherever you want to grow something, you can grow a pumpkin. One single pumpkin plant can produce between 2 and 5 pumpkins. 1 acre of land can generate about 1,000 pumpkins.
I have an observation to make.
Okay.
Having now wiped my hands, having removed a lot of pumpkin entrail, it's a vivid orange colour, which is very much the Halloween colour, isn't it?
It is.
So I wonder if a pumpkin was the source of this orange as the colour of Halloween.
You'll notice that the pumpkin box that you've got there, though, some are green, some are orange and green, some are yellow.
That's true.
Some are knobbly, some are smooth.
They're quite...
Some are oblong. I tried to pick ones that showed a variety in the size. And
There is a remarkable diversity of pumpkins available.
indeed, that's right. So if you wanted to grow a pumpkin, it needs at least 6 hours of direct, unfiltered sun each day. It's a lot of sun. It also needs a lot of water. Pumpkins are 80 to 90% water. So they need about 4.5 litres a week, which is about 16 gallons of water. So that's about 1 inch of rainwater. They should be turned pretty much all the time, every day, and with great care so that you don't hurt the vine or the stem. And that encourages that round shape that you've got. Otherwise, they just sort of squidge to one side. And it's recommended that you put cardboard or some sort of thin wooden board under the plant to prevent it touching the wet soil so that it doesn't decay or get insect damage. So there's a lot of effort to go involved in growing a pumpkin. But there are pumpkin producers all over the world. The top 5 pumpkin producers are, let's go with number 1. What do you think?
I think the USA is going to be your number 1 pumpkin producer.
It's in the top 5. It's number 5. There are 4 more countries above America.
All right. Well, I think clearly the Kazakhstan people are keen pumpkin growers.
You would be wrong. It's a good guess, like just randomly.
I was out there, wasn't it? I appreciate that. So Spain.
Not Spain. Not on the list.
South America somewhere. Mexico.
That was number 6.
Argentina.
No. Iran, number 4.
They were not on my list, I'll be honest with you.
Russia, number 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Number 2 is India.
Oh, really?
And number 1, it's China. Give yourself a little pat on the back if you said China to yourself. And if you didn't, well, there'll be other quizzes. You're still smart. We love you.
There's room for everyone in the History Happened Everywhere church.
Right, 1.5 billion pounds of pumpkin is grown in the United States for Halloween, just for carving.
Carved his eyeball out now.
Oh, it's exciting.
And it came with a bit of sort of optic nerve. It was kind of creepy.
That's what I thought you were showing me, yeah. 147 million Americans, roughly 44% of the population, they will buy a pumpkin in 2021. So if you're listening to this and you live in America and you have your own pumpkin, you are one of 147 million. At an average cost of $4 per pumpkin, it's approximately 700 million in total that is spent. And in 2010, the world's largest jack-o'-lantern was carved by a guy called Scott Cully in New York, and it weighed 821 kilograms, which is slightly heavier than an adult giraffe. Isn't that amazing?
That is remarkably large. What did he carve it into? I mean, you've got to plan your carving.
Oh, it's like a monster face. It's huge, like really huge. Anyway, there you go. Well done, Scott Cully.
I'm having a marvellous time, by the way.
Do you want a treat while you're having
I would love a
time?
treat, yeah. Trick or treat, please. Oh, hello.
Oh, okay.
This is interesting. Like a little roll of sweets. It's got a minion on it by the looks of it.
Yeah, other minions are available. But yes, this is sponsored by Minions. These are described as something cakes. I forget what.
Cakes. Okay. So it looks like just a roll of hard sweets like you get Lifesavers in America or...
Yeah, but on the inside...
Is it just one thing? It's just one...
They look like communion wafers on the inside.
Oh, looks like someone's cut up a cork from a wine bottle and just sliced it.
That is amazing. That's exactly what it looks like.
That's quite interesting.
It looks like a biscuit.
It's sort of a biscuity kind of texture.
Granular. Well, it's got a sweet...
Sort of dusty, sweet, chewy. I'm finding this, it's just falling between so many different sensations for me. It is sweet. It's sort of chewy, but not chewy. It sort of crunches, but doesn't crunch.
That is a bizarre...
I don't know what to make of that.
No.
I'm not sure. My senses are confused.
Are you going for another one?
I'm having another one. I'm like, should you chew it? You don't suck it because
I think if you sucked it, it would just turn to like...
It's like compressed
mush.
Sweet dust.
Yeah. Anyway, right, there you go.
That is
weird treat,
peculiar,
that one.
I would say.
Okay, so jack-o'-lanterns. We've talked about jack-o'-lanterns, we've talked about pumpkins, but what about jack-o'-lanterns in South Korea? So in the olden days, autumn was the time when people would harvest big, old, wrinkled pumpkins that were sort of the colour of a dusty orange clay. They would often harvest them not from a field, but from stone walls where these vines grew naturally, or from the straw roofs of people's houses, I'm told. How cool is that? You clamber up on your roof and take a pumpkin.
Pop up.
Yeah, when you consider these are vines, right? So they do.
Yeah, I suppose they go where they go, right?
They go where they go. So they were known as old pumpkin. That's what the Korean translates as. They were large, not too sweet, and one was enough to feed a family of 8. So they basically stored as many of them as they could over the winter, and they would use them to make stew, soup, porridge, serve them as a snack, that sort of stuff.
You can do anything with a pumpkin.
Kimchi, and you can indeed.
I do love a bit of kimchi.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. You can pickle it, you can put it in stews. There's lots you can do. Right, including pumpkin soup.
Ooh.
Hold the phone.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to have... Oh, now I'm excited because I'm really in the mood for a bit of soup. I'm a big soup fan.
So, Peter, I am back and I have brought for you a bowl of...
It's spooky soup.
It's not soup. I just read the packet. because it was in Korean. So I used like an app on my phone to check the packet. And it's actually pumpkin porridge, which we were talking about anyway. So here we go. Traditional pumpkin porridge. It's got bits in it. I don't know what they are.
That's
the app
so it
was
looks
not
like,
specific.
I mean, it's sort of gelatinous. I would say it looks like a soup. It looks like a soya bean.
It looks like a rich pumpkin, doesn't
red
it?
soya bean in it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's almost sweet.
Yeah, sweet pumpkin. So South Korean pumpkins are known as sweet pumpkins, and they are green and small. Smaller the pumpkin, the sweeter it becomes.
That is, I'm finding my soup brain is confused by the fact that it's sweet.
It is gelatinous, like you said, but it's delicious. It's much sweeter than you would think it is.
It's really quite sweet, but not like sickly candy sweet, but it's curious.
It's really good. Okay, so yes, that is the hanoba, which is the little green sweet pumpkin.
Green sweet pumpkin. That's really quite sweet.
Yeah. And they are pretty much really only available at sort of traditional markets. So they're not everywhere.
Okay.
The big orange jack-o'-lantern pumpkin, that's even rarer. There are little forums and things that I went online where there are people in South Korea going, I want a pumpkin, like a traditional American pumpkin. Where do I get it from? And there are a few people saying this market, that market, but prepare to spend money on getting it. In fact, there's no actual word for jack-o'-lantern, so they've just come up with their own. So it's jaeg-o'-lantern, which is jack-o'-lantern. Also, if you turned up at a market, you could ask for a hoba, which is a pumpkin or a squash or like a zucchini. Or there is hobang-lantan, which is pumpkin lantern. There's another word that you could ask for it.
Right.
Oh, here we go. Right. Or
these are my favourite bits as you stride gamely towards a very difficult word.
Hobag elu mandun cholong, which means lanterns made of pumpkin.
Oh, right.
So you could use any of those words were you to be in South Korea and in desperate dire need of a big orange pumpkin.
That's good. Now, I also slightly like the fact that the only Korean you now speak is jack-o'-lantern.
Jack-o'-lantern. But with Halloween becoming like a growing festival, places like Costco, wholesalers, they're now starting to stock it seasonally as well. So they're importing them so that people can get hold of them. In fact, in 2021 in Pangyo, there is a place called Craftworks, and they're having a Halloween pumpkin carving event.
Right.
So
I'll be ready to enter.
You are now ready to enter with your sweet tools, pro as you are. In Itaewon, the Sweet East Cafe this year are serving pumpkin spiced latte.
Oh, so that's a thing in this country, isn't it? Or certainly in America. That's a sort of changing of the seasons thing where the pumpkin latte becomes available.
Super popular with the young ladies on Instagram, I understand. But in general, pumpkins have a relatively large untapped market. In fact, there are pockets of society where the poor have a vitamin A deficiency, which in some cases sadly leads to blindness and even infant mortality. So mangoes and pumpkins are being promoted at the moment in South Korea in nutrition programs to those areas. But of the two, pumpkins are the ones that store really well.
So is that orangey colour related to that then? Because carrots also have that vitamin A content.
Hold that thought.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so pumpkins store really well. They don't require refrigeration and they're easy to grow. In fact, and this is to your point, the Korean Science and Engineering Foundation are funding research to use the same technology that's used to extract caffeine from coffee beans for decaffeinated coffee. It's called SFE, which is the supercritical fluid extraction.
Oh, right.
And they're using that to draw out carotenoids, which is the stuff that gives them that orange colour, and that is what makes them basically super healthy. So if they can extract that, they can boost it, get it in foods, get a super pumpkin, whatever. You know, the technology is there.
All right.
And talking of technology, before we move on, do you want a treat?
I definitely do. Okay, I've got something rustly. Oh, that's an interesting looking thing.
Okay, so these are traditional Korean cookies.
So it looks like a sort of chrysanthemum kind of shape maybe.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a cookie. Oh, it's like a very syrupy, almost a pudding like. Okay, so it's quite soft. It's very soft.
Oh, that wasn't what I was expecting.
It's like the treacle in a treacle tart almost, but with a bit more breading.
Yeah, bread definitely. It's got a bready feel. It's really hard to describe that one.
Try and imagine something bready, but also cookie-ish and syrupish and sweet. I mean, it's substantial.
Okay, right. So let's talk about technology. By 2025, the population of Korea is set to rise by about 1 million people just within the next 3 or 4 years. So the world's population by 2025 is likely to reach 8.2 billion people. Cities are going to become crowded. There's going to be a need to feed all of these people, and access to fresh, healthy food is going to be a challenge. And here is why. Traditional farms are taking up a huge amount of space, right? Vehicles are needed to harvest the crops, and they're using fossil fuels. There is a 40% chance that the global average temperature will be the hottest on record by 2025. 40% chance. And demand for water, because of that, is going to expand. Currently, 70% of the world's water is used for agriculture. Then there's the everyday challenges of farming. The seasonal weather, pests, natural disasters. Also, you've got young people. They're just not wanting to stay in rural areas, funnily enough. They want to get out and go do stuff in the cities, and they just don't want to hang out with their parents doing farming. And farming is expensive. At the end of 2019, South Korea lost its developing nation status, which means that it can't use any tariffs anymore to protect its farmers. And then, of course, there's the effect of coronavirus as well. So all in all, the South Korean government is a little bit concerned, and they are, in fact, doubling down on technology as the answer to avoid a potential crisis within the next 3 or 4 years. Specifically, what they're doing is they're investing in things called smart farms. Now, even before COVID, Korea was actually piloting various forms of smart farms known as vertical farming. You might have heard them. You might have seen some sort of things on the news because they're starting to be more popularized.
I've seen a couple of articles about this.
Right. So smart farms produce food stacked in layers vertically rather than out on a big field horizontally. And they're produced inside a structure rather than outside to the elements. The environment within these structures, the temperature, the light, the humidity, all the gases, carbon dioxide and oxygen, all that sort of stuff, it's all automatically controlled. So they're essentially a futuristic greenhouse. They maximize your farming space in a limited, smaller area, and it doesn't use any sunlight or any soil because you're using LEDs and you're using materials that just don't need it. You just got water and nutrients, and that's pretty much it. So the benefits of these vertical farms is that they use 90% less water than traditional farming. They don't use soil. They use a thing called rock wool. It's a type of bedding for the plants, which is like a type of fiber made of basalt rock and chalk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and basically a shoebox size bed of this rock wool can accommodate up to 15 meter tomato vines.
What?
They don't use pesticides, herbicides, or fungicides because it's all inside, so there aren't any pests because nothing can get in. It's all controlled. They grow plants 24/7, basically shortens the growth cycle to half. They produce more produce per square foot than on an actual farm. The food is more nutritious, it's safer, so there's no risk of disease or pollution, allergens, pesticides, that sort of stuff. And of course, the uniformity, the quality of the products is pretty much exactly the same. You're producing exactly the same quality of stuff. And because of that, shops, stores, consumers are more eager to buy it. They know what they're going to get, so they're more willing to put an order in. You can grow whatever you like. You're not dependent on the local climate. There's no cost to transport it or import produce from overseas because you can now grow all of those exotic products that you would like to and you would normally ship from far-flung places. You can just grow them yourself. A lost crop can be replaced immediately rather than you have to wait a full year for the next cycle. There's less face-to-face contact in farming and selling. There's reduced need for manpower. So these can all be remotely controlled. So even by a smartphone.
Well, this all feels like excellent news.
There is a caveat to that.
I thought there was going to be about coming up. So.
No. There is a caveat to one of these things, and that is that with the manpower, reduced manpower, you still have to, although you can do it on your phone, you still need to have some people there to pollinate the flowers, like for a lot of these plants require on pollination.
Right.
So far, that can't be done digitally. So because there are no insects to pollinate the plants, which is what normally happens, humans are required to go in and give them a helping hand. And what they do is they take a vibrating wand and they go plant to plant and vibrate the plants.
Excellent. What's your job? I'm a flower pervert.
Botherer. And it shakes the flowers so much, so vigorously, that all the pollen just falls out, but gently at the same time, right? Because it's just a nice, gentle, there's a job for you.
So it occurs to me that what you've actually just described is there's just one missing link between Farmville, the Facebook game, the great popular thing, and actual farming. All you got to do is bring those people and go and sign up to do Farmville. And actually, they're actually working a farm somewhere in a warehouse in Korea.
That's exactly right. So let me tell you about some of those Korean startups, right? Some of the companies that are out there. There are companies called Anthem, Nexton, and Farm 8. Those are the three 3 leaders at the moment in vertical farming in South Korea. Nexon has built a small vertical farm in an abandoned tunnel under a mountain. They even play classical music to their plants to encourage them to grow.
Wow, that's lovely.
Yeah. N-Thing...
Feels like a Bond villain's lair, though, the one you just described.
Just very green. Yeah. N-Thing offers a portable farm called The Cube, which allows flexible growth. So if you're a farmer, you can buy 1 cube, and if it does well, next year you can buy another one or another 2 and hook them up.
So
like
can I have
Legos
one of these
or
in my cupboard? I can have a cupboard full of growing...
You absolutely can, yeah. I even believe that I think IKEA and some others are now starting to sell hydroponics to be able to create your own little internal farming. So you could have a little lettuce growing.
Wow.
Yeah, but these guys are obviously focused more on the commercial side of this. But yeah, they are actually doing more consumer-led ones as well. Farm 8 is a company which sells close to about 40 tons of packaged salad a day. And that includes to Starbucks and GS25, which is Korea's leading convenience store chain. Right. They have also, this is Farm 8, they've installed a metro farm in a subway station in Seoul, which uses unused space to have a vertical farm. And they encourage visits from the public. You can go along, you can visit, see the technology, see the plants growing. Yeah. And you can also buy the produce as well. They got a little shop next to it, all in this underground station. And now, because of all this tech, younger people are being attracted to it, just like me and you are like, oh, this sounds awesome. I want to see one of these things.
Like a farm on an app, for sure.
For sure, yeah. There's a company, a South Korean company called Farm 66, and they recently won the Hong Kong Emerging Brand Award for their aquaponic vertical farms. Aquaponics is where you use fish in the process, and the fish give out waste. That waste is used as fertilizer, which
I had a
grows the
goldfish.
plants.
That was all he ever did, to be honest.
And then you filter that water back to the fish, and so on and so on. So it's just reused as part of that cycle, and those you can get for your house. So you can have a little fish in your pot at the bottom of your cabinet.
Aquaponics rig.
Right, absolutely, a little aquaponic.
I feel like I've wandered into a sci-fi movie of my youth at this point.
Right, and yet it's only as of time of recording, 4 years away is when we're looking at this being mainstream.
Wow.
Yeah. So unsurprisingly, you can see why South Korea is sort of just leaning into this at home, but also globally. They want to be a key player in what they're calling the agri-tech industry. And some of the companies that we've just spoken about, they are now selling vertical farms to the global market. Everything from, as you say, the refrigerator-sized machine to a 40-foot container that you can buy. South Korea is building these units, which they're selling to the Middle East at the moment. They're called the Planty Cube, and they're like a shipping container-sized box, so about 12 meters long, and they're filled with these racks of crops like lettuce and stuff. They sell for about $130,000 each, so about £100,000. About that. And in 2020, 10 of those Planty Cubes were installed in Abu Dhabi, and 50 more have since been bought for being installed in 2021 to 22. And Saudi Arabia, Oman, Kuwait, many others in the Middle East, they've all started to place orders and will take delivery in the next few years as well.
Well, this is exciting stuff, I have to say. I like an upbeat view of technology. A lot of the futurism we get is very bleak with the environmental situation that we're facing. So I can only thank you for giving me an upbeat, positive view of the future.
Well, there's a lot of technology that is coming out of Korea. It really is that place. Hyundai at the moment have just sponsored a pilot project, which I think goes live next year, 2022, which will see flying taxis, essentially drone car, which will fly you across the city to the next port and you can get out there.
Wow.
I think flying cars is going to be a way forward. In fact, 6G is something that South Korea is currently investing in, because the faster that you can get the internet, essentially, and with less latency, the more you're able to control drones and flying vehicles with greater accuracy.
Oh, right. I'm blown away. I really am.
Yeah,
I'm excited. It feels like a place I'll be happy to live.
Super exciting. So that's all great, but can these vertical farms grow a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin?
Definitely yes, I'd say.
So one of the criticisms of virtual farming at the moment is that it's mostly being used to produce leafy greens, small fruits and berries. Basically, the higher calorie vegetables and crops, they're not being grown yet. But it's not impossible. There is plenty of videos on YouTube showing people actually growing pumpkins using hydroponics, but it's just not yet at commercial levels. By 2025... more people will have experience in that field, technology will have improved, and importantly, because all of this is digital and you're able to control everything about these farms, you're getting data. And so the data generated by these farms and the farms that will have been going for a few years by that point will provide millions of data points that can be analyzed by all sorts of data analysis companies and help move that farming process forward more efficiently. So really exciting stuff. Hopefully one day you'll be able to see whole shelves full of jack-o'-lantern pumpkins that are grown under a mountain.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's not natural in the truest sense, but is that kind of the price to pay?
I'm not a big believer in the concept of natural, if I'm honest. I think everything that is in the world is natural.
Fair. Yeah. But look, I mean, I think it's certain that given the direction that we're all facing with global climate and population growth, that traditional methods, they're just going to start to slip away and be replaced.
I, for one, look forward to my under-mountain lettuce dinner.
Yeah. Also worth noting that November 11th is Farmers' Day in South Korea.
Farmers' Day.
Farmers' Day.
I would used to feel a bit sorry for them, but now I know they're all
sitting there with their robots
app on their screen. Yeah. I'm less sympathetic. Horny-handed son of the soil. Beep, beep, beep,
less
beep,
happy
beep.
to get up really early and
Exactly. It's I've got to milk the cows. Beep beep. Anyway, coffee.
Right, that is jack-o'-lanterns, and I can't leave it just on boring old agriculture and farming, right? This is our Halloween
didn't think that was boring
special.
At all. I thought that was absolutely riveting.
And being self-effacing.
Not as spooky as
Not
one might
spooky.
hope.
So we should have a bit of spook, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Shouldn't we leave with some spook?
We should leave with a spook.
All right, let's do another
Trick or treat.
Trick or treat. I feel like we've done the majority of
I think we
these.
may have to cherry pick now.
Well, we've got these ones now.
Right, so the three things are a box that looks like a pretty classic chocolate bar of a sort of Pocky. It looks a bit like a Pocky or something. Mm-hmm. We have a soybean image on some sort of box, and what is most interesting to me, a thing that looks like a ruler.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going for.
All right. Okay.
So I'm opening this up. It's about a foot long. It's about the size and shape of a ruler. It's got some sort of gooey, sticky. Oh, that's interesting. It looks like a cable.
Oh, it does look like a cable, yeah.
So it's got a sweet, sherbety kind of layer on the sprinkling on the top. Okay, I think we just got to go for it. Here we go.
Oh, it's sour.
Oh, I regret taking so much.
Oh, that's really sour. It's just like a candy strip.
It is. That's good. I like that.
It's got like a pastry kind of look to it. It doesn't look like candy, but this is good.
It's quite
Yeah, it's super sour though, isn't it?
It's quite sour. All right, spook me out, Rai.
I've noticed that your pumpkin is done, by the way.
Yes, I hope you can enjoy my pumpkin. It's a two-sided affair. I have the face of fear on the front. I'll be honest, the face of fear is quite cute. Much cuter than I was actually
Super
anticipating. But wait.
Oh, yeah.
Let me reverse the pumpkin. I rotate the pumpkin.
Yeah, and it says
HHE.
What's that stand for?
It's horror happening everywhere.
I love it. Right. Which is good. I like this thing.
Yeah, this is nice.
I'll eat this again.
I'm in favour of this one. This is probably my favourite of the batch so far.
No. Okay, so as I said, I didn't want to leave this Halloween special just by talking about agriculture. So I thought I'd spooky things up a little bit.
Spooky it up, my friend.
All right. We talked a bit about Stingy Jack and the devil.
We did.
So I thought I'd look up to see if there were any specifically Korean traditional tales and see if there were any Halloween-y kind of versions. And what I discovered was that there are many. And in fact, they even have a name for these type of stories. They're called Imoldam, and they're specifically about supernatural beings. So your ghosts, your monsters and goblins.
Oh, my.
Oh my. So in most of these tales, supernatural beings enter the human world and they engage in friendly or antagonistic relations with human beings. That's kind of the theme throughout all of them. One such creature is called the Tacabee, known as the Korean goblin.
Ooh.
Yeah, the Tacabee is said to be the spiritual possession of an inanimate object, like an old discarded broom or an object stained with human blood. Yeah. Anyway, so the Tacabee are somewhere between like a god, like a deity, and a ghost. Side note, Korean ghosts, otherwise known as Huishin, they take 4 forms. The first ghost is the virgin ghost, which is female virgin who has died. There's the bachelor ghost, which is the male version. And then there is water ghosts, which are people who have...
Drowned?
Correct. And then there's Dalgyal Guishin, which is known as the egg ghost.
Egg ghost?
Yeah.
Go on.
It's the fourth.
People who were killed whilst eating eggs. Salmonella victims. I don't know.
All right. The Dalgyal Guishin appears as a ghostly egg.
That doesn't sound as frightening as you tried to portray there.
Has no face.
Well, no eggs.
No arms or legs.
It's just an egg then.
It has no personality.
It's just an egg.
And it shows no emotion.
This is less terror. We've got one of the eggs in again. Never mind. Just leave it.
No one knows where it came from or anything about it.
It feels the least perturbing haunting ever. Can you imagine? Oh, there's a ghost. This is a haunted house. Well, what kind of ghost is it? It's not one of those virgin ghosts, is it? No, it's an egg. Oh, yeah, that's fine. I can move in. It could be on the coffee table as far as I'm concerned. I could live with that ghost. What does it do? Nothing. Has it killed anybody? No.
Isn't it spooky?
Not really, no.
But it has no face.
No, eggs traditionally don't. That's fine. I'm totally comfortable with a faceless egg in my house.
So there you go. That's the Dalgyal Guishin. Anyway, legends.
I feel like that's the sort of the loser at the campfire round the bonfire. Everyone tells a tale, and some guys pulled out, and there was an egg, and it had no face, and somehow that's the one that caught on.
That's amazing, isn't it? Anyway, right. So legend. So legends describe the Tacabee in many forms, but most often they're described as having horns, bulging eyes, a big mouth, long, sharp teeth, a hairy body, and long claws.
I think I know him.
You look in the mirror every day and you see one. They're typically found at night,
Right.
but they also appear when it's foggy and rainy. Yeah. So the tale has changed somewhat over time, as these things somewhat do, and per region. But they're always depicted as sort of fearsome and awe-inspiring, probably because they appear heralded by a tall blue flame of fire.
Ooh, I'd like to be heralded by a tall blue.
It's pretty cool, right? Imagine walking in a room.
I am here.
Yeah. They possess magical items, such as a hat, which grants the power of invisibility. It's pretty cool.
I'd love one of them.
Yeah, a club called the Bang Mangi, which acts like a magic wand, but can also be used to summon things.
And clout someone around the side of the head that you don't
Yeah,
like.
it's a club, the Bang Mangi, yeah. But they are said to possess extraordinary powers.
Well, I was happy with the hat, but let's go on. What can you do for me?
Themselves, right? That's just the hat and the thing which have their own powers, but they have powers themselves. Now, they use these powers when interacting with humans. They interact with humans a lot. And the interactions go one of two ways. They either play pranks on us or they help us out. Tricking or treating, one might say.
Yes, indeed. I kind of like these guys. They sound fun.
Well, an example of pranking from their stories.
It's like a super brutal prank. Or like, oh, where's my other shoe?
Prank, bro. Setting fire to things.
Oh, okay. That's arson, but yeah.
Plagues.
Okay. Plagues? Plague's not a prank. You can't call a plague a prank.
It was a prank.
It was a prank, dude. What?
Disease.
Okay, yeah. So now I'm really reevaluating the prank status.
But more pranking is preventing wayward travellers from passing by without first wrestling them.
It's not sort of a spirit like older brother.
Yeah, that one feels more prankish.
Why are you hitting yourself?
Right. The problem with that, though, with the wrestling, trying to get by wrestling thing, is that Tacabee are extremely skilled at wrestling.
Right.
And cannot be beaten.
Well, that seems like a poor wager then.
Except in the stories, they always lose. And that mainly might be because their right side is exploited in every story. And that's because in some tales, the Tacabee only have one leg.
I would be willing to engage a one-legged opponent in a wrestling contest.
The advice is, this is sincerely.
I mean, surely sweep the leg would be my...
Well...
sweep the sole leg.
If you're ever in a position... where you're
I've seen the Karate Kid. I know what to do.
Where you're in South Korea and you're going along a journey.
And then some wrestling
and
spirit.
He jumps out with a big blue flash of flame. And he's like, you can't get past unless you wrestle me.
All right.
And you're like,
go.
The advice is to hook their leg and push them over.
I mean,
Spooky.
I'm not sure. This is quite as fearsome as advertised. I cannot be beaten. Shove.
Literally.
I mean, you're a one-legged spirit wearing an invisibility hat. I think I've got this.
Just you wait till you walk home tonight. You're going to be going to encounter a Tacabee. Right, but they bring good harvest too, right? So, because it's not all just pranks, bro. It's good stuff too. They the Tacabee was popular among people who lived near the Yellow Sea.
Right.
The marshlands, apparently, where they lived. The marshlands would make noises as they trapped air.
Yeah, let's do this again.
come on.
I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay.
All right. So the Tacabee was popular among people living near the Yellow Sea. The marshlands that they have there, they would make noises, right? As the air that is trapped inside the marshes escaped with the tide. So the tide goes out and it goes...
Oh, right. A farting noise.
I guess.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. But people assumed it was the Tacabee's footsteps
Right.
as it was walking. Right. So hopping...
I think that...
Anyway, so people would climb to a high vantage point on the last day of the lunar year and scan the ocean for mysterious lights in the sky, which they would use to pinpoint places to cast their fishing nets, right?
Right.
Because that's where the Tacabee would be, is these flashing lights in the sky. Similarly, the Tacabee will defend us against evil spirits.
Awesome.
Which is awesome, right? That's a good thing. So it seems like they just kind of want to hang out with humans, really.
I
the
think
whole
they're
wrestling
lonely.
thing is just gonna be
It's a bit desperate, isn't it? I just need contact with anyone.
Yeah. So depending on where you live, some people want the Tacabee to bring them good luck, others want to chase them away. And in Jeju Island, there is a healing ceremony which is said to drive away the Tacabee from patients, which is similar to driving away bad energy from a person who sort of has dual personalities. So I guess people with mental health issues, it was cast out your Tacabee.
All right.
And there you go. So the creepy world of egg ghosts and one-legged goblins.
Way less creepy than I was imagining, but I enjoyed that a lot. I mean, I kind of want to come across one of these guys because I've got this egg ghost in my house, which is, I mean, it's fine, but I keep bashing my shins on it.
Right.
So,
There you go.
that was remarkable, Ryan. I have to say, that was wildly different to my expectations. I was expecting a lot of sinister spookiness, and I got what was a fascinating journey through agriculture and hilariously incapable spirits. But also, you gave me loads of sweets, so now I'm bouncing off the walls because I'm stacked with sugar.
You are. I've noticed that. You're sort of vibrating a little bit across the table. You've got to carve a pumpkin, which we'll take pictures of, and those will go on the website, hhepodcast.com, or on our Twitter feed, at HHE Podcast.
Well, I think you did an excellent job, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was fully absorbed by that.
All right, very good. Well, look, you know what that means?
I think it's time
It's definitely time.
to roll the dice, metaphorically.
Yeah. Okay, should we do it then?
I think we're back
Halloween
to
one goes
regular.
away.
It's regular days later now. The Halloween one's packed away for another year.
I'll wheel out the other one then.
Okay, the vastly less spooky standard issue Durza later.
Blow the dust off it.
Yep. Gonna have to stoke the fires up, get that coal going.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Very
brass
good.
The brass is looking quite nice for considering it's been away for a week.
I like to keep it in good order.
I'm glad to see. Right.
Okay, are you ready, Peter?
I'm ready, sir.
Are you?
No.
You always say that, and I don't
know.
think you are.
You always pull a paleogene out of the ether somehow.
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready. I'm
Okay.
calm and collected.
Okay, so your country is NATO.
Oh.
So it's not one country.
It's the collection of countries that form NATO.
The collection of countries that form NATO.
Oh, great. Okay,
So I
that's
guess
interesting.
how you interpret that?
Yeah,
Up to you.
That gives me quite a lot of scope. I'm excited.
And
Okay.
NATO is the National Association.
North Atlantic Treaty Organisation.
Well, there you go. Okay, yeah, I guess you're probably going to want a time now.
Something in the NATO period would be terrific.
Here we go.
It's the Jurassic.
Okay, and your time is... Once upon a time.
Once Upon a Time. Ooh,
That's interesting.
I'd forgotten we put those things in.
This is the most open one.
Yeah,
you've had
I
for a
can do what I
while.
want, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I guess it's all down to the topic now, isn't
The
it?
topic is...
Okay, and your topic is ecology.
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 Wow, that wasn't
In the
exactly what I was
NATO
hoping
countries.
for. In Once Upon a Time. Ecology. Oh. Ooh.
I genuinely don't know what to make of that.
I don't either, but I'm going to make something of it. That much, sir, I guarantee.
All right. Well, I am looking forward to it.
So, Ryan, I have to thank you. I really enjoyed this. It was really quite different to what I was expecting, which I always enjoy. I love it when you pull something unusual and unexpected out of the bag and not just a showboat of ghosts and ghoulies. But that is, sadly, our show for this week. Thanks for listening, everyone out there. If you'd like to get in touch about any of the things we've talked about on the show or just say hello, hang out with us, you can reach out to us on social media through our website at hhepodcast.com or by email at peteandryan@hhepodcast.com. We'd love to hear from you, and if you're lucky or you say something fascinating or interesting, or if you just want to, you might end up featured on a future show.
That's right. And one way to definitely feature on a future show is to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. It's really important to us. And, it brings people to the show and it just shows that you love us.
And that's really why we do this. Listen, if you're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you can find us at HHE Podcast. Subscribe to those. You'll get an alert when we post one of our 1 minute animated bites.
Yep. But we're going to be back again soon with
The verdict.
But in the meantime, if you can't get enough of the show, you are only human, check out the back catalogue, which you can find at the podcast app or YouTube or on our website, hhepodcast.com. So, huge thanks to Ryan. That was amazing. I loved it.
Thank you, Peter.
And I think all that's left to say is...
Happy Halloween, everybody. Oh, and also, you've been listening to... History happened everywhere.
Ryan, there's someone at your front door, mate. Ryan, there's someone at your door. Oh, fine, I'll get it.
Trick or treat.
Oh, what a scary ghost costume. You look great. Well done, you. And how can I help you?
Trick or treat. Trick or treat. Give me something good to eat.
Ryan, is that you? What are you doing?
Yeah, it's me. Trick or treat, isn't it?
Right.
So I want some chocolate?
Well, I don't think there's anything in the house.
Yeah. No, there is. It's some chocolate in the fridge.
Right, so you want me to go back into your house, open up your fridge to get your chocolate that you bought and give it to you for trick or treat?
That's right, yeah.
So what happens if I say trick?
I'm going to take these eggs and I'm going to throw them at the house and I'm going to put flour and water all over the car and I'm going to put weed killer all over the lawn.
Right. That sounds like it'll take ages to clear up. Okay, I'm going to choose trick.
Oh, right. Well, so be it.
Might get myself a bit of that chocolate. Oh, what's this? Looks like a new brand. X-Lax. Yum. It's Halloween.